Rick Long.
Hey, I'm Cindy Steitner. Together we are Dry Run Dulcimer. Yeah. Today we are gathered together because we are going to work on lesson 8 of our 2026 challenge to play by ear.
8?
8.
Good grief.
Time's just a-flying, isn't it?
Yeah, that's good. That's good.
Lesson 8 already. And today I found some interesting stuff in my book, Anyone Can Play Music by Josh Turknett. And it's really about when people stall or reach like a plateau or something with their playing and how to get off that plateau and how to get moving. And so this applies to everything in music, but I could see it definitely also applying to the play-by-ear stuff. Mm-hmm. So I think it'd be a good thing to add in. All right? Sound like a plan to you?
Yeah.
I have things highlighted in the book that I want to bring up, but they say that anybody really gets stuck or hits the wall or hits a plateau at some point in their musical journey. And it's just part of the natural part of learning to play an instrument. All right? And they say that hitting the wall is very common, and masters don't make their way to the apex of expertise, the top of expertise.
That's a lot of big words.
I know. They say the masters don't get there because they never hit a wall, because they hit walls too. But what happens and what gets them to the top level of expertise is finding their way through these walls and finding their way past the plateaus. They say that studies show the greatest motivating factor for learning is progress. So if you're not making progress, most people will lose their motivation, and next thing you know, you got another instrument that's just sitting over there gathering dust. Mm-hmm. So we want to avoid that. We want to avoid that in your musical journey at all, but also in the playing by ear. So if you're not making progress and you feel like you're stuck, we're going to go over what they say are some 5 common reasons, and then they suggest ways to get unstuck based on the reason.
This will be good to know. Continue, please.
Okay, well, reason number 1, they say, is you're not inspired.
I can see that.
Yeah. Infatuation with your instrument can wane. You know, life is ebbs and flows. Things come and go. Yeah. And you've lost your big interest, and you're wondering where the fireworks went. And, you know, that's just part of a natural relationship.
That's your sure sign that you're not progressing. If you're not inspired, you're definitely not moving forward. So.
And you're not going to start progressing till you reconnect with that inspiration. Mm-hmm. Okay? So what they say you need to do is reconnect with what got you here in the first place, to the position where you are in your musical journey. They say remember and revisit your early experiences. And, you know, what drew you to the dulcimer and learning how to play it, and I don't know, just what was that experience? What interested you? And try to reconnect with that. They also say that connecting with groups of people can really be a good inspiration source. And they say that every time that they go where there's a lot of people and just surrounded by, you know, people playing the instruments and all this kind of stuff, they just always come back full of energy. And I know that happens to me, like when I go to a festival. Yeah. And you go to your jams and stuff.
The jam, or even going to the club meetings and things that might happen there that, you know, it may not take much. It may just be something little that kind of sticks with you and gives you the desire to get that old dulcimer out and start playing.
That's right. That's right. Call on a friend. Call on a buddy. Yeah. Get a playing partner if you can. You know, just find something to reconnect you with the instrument. And they say it's best to do it in person. But if you can't, guess what?
I think that's been the biggest thing to motivate me is a playing partner.
Yeah.
I had Rudy for a while. I've got you. I've had Mike and Gwen at times, they would come and visit. When my wife was sick, they'd come to the house and visit and jam. And well, it was a great feeling to just sit there and just play song after song after song. And that would keep me going until the next time. So.
And they would teach you probably some new songs and stuff along the way that they had picked up at places that you weren't able to go. So it can really help with your inspiration. And if you can't connect in person, they say do so online. And I have found several online jams. The Buckeye Roadshow does one. There's another lady that does one. I can't think of her name right now. It'll come to me in a minute. But there's different jams, and then there's all kinds of online festivals and workshops.
Let me ask you a question about that, because I don't really know.
Okay.
You call it a jam. Do you hear everybody playing when I know you've got a bunch of people, say you've got 10 people there. Do you hear everybody playing, or just like a leader playing, and that you kind of try to play along with just that one person? There
is some delay in the digital and computer, system and signal and everything. Yep. So no, they have to mute people, and you only hear who is like the leaders of the event.
Yep.
And there could be more than one though, in that same spot together, doing the broadcasting. But still, it's better than none. It's one way to connect, and it's still good information. In the workshops, you are able to ask questions and interact with people and hear what they have to say and hear their ideas and stuff. So it's definitely good. It's a way to connect when you can't leave the house, or there's no one close to you, or maybe you just need more information than what you can find in your local environment. Something new, something different. Okay, so that's reason number 1. Guess what reason number 2 is?
I don't have any idea.
You may be resting on your laurels.
Well, I've been known to do that. What are my laurels?
Well, it says once you get to a certain level of proficiency, it's really easy to get stuck in a rut with your practicing. And oftentimes you might feel like you need to spend most of your time practicing what you've already learned to maintain your skills and your repertoire. But as we talked about last week, that's overkill. We don't need to do that.
You get burnt out.
Exactly. And they say once you've created a mature subconscious neural network, it's going to be yours for the long haul. So you don't have to keep doing these things over and over and over. But see, I could see this maybe happening to me, because I say my goal for learning to play by ear is to be able to get along in a jam. And so, because I don't always go to jams, where people are playing by ear and new music is called out, this is going to be something that I have to guard against, because most of the jamming that I do is with the Dulcimer Club, where there is tab and there is music. So I am going to have to be careful not to fall back into that habit and just rest on my laurels and say, okay, I've learned enough, because I need to keep developing it.
Another way to look at that, though, is you don't have to have the music or the tab in front of you.
Exactly.
They can, but you don't have to be able to see it. Just try without. Do what you can without it and see what happens. I think that'll help you develop the goal here that we're after.
I think it will too, but I might just decide, well, I'll just go ahead and use the tab this time because it's easier,
Give up too easy.
Yeah. So I'm going to have to guard against that.
Yeah.
And I'm going to have to put myself out there and try to play it without the music and push myself to do that.
Yes.
Okay, and they say another thing that you really need to do to guard against this is to create a practice plan where you are always learning something new. So see, I'll have to be kind of doing this in the jams, trying the new songs and stuff. And I have our little cards. Remember our cards that we made from last week? All right, and the
flashcards.
Yeah, and the spaced out practices that we were doing. So we can always add in new cards. You don't have to do every card, every practice session. So build a way that you're always putting new songs and new information into your practice plan.
Just shuffle those cards and lay them face down and draw the first one. Whatever it says, play that.
Do it. Do it.
Don't have them in alphabetical order so you know what's coming up next. Just let it be a surprise. That's why it's going to be at a jam, because you don't know what the next song going to be, or somebody calls it out unless you call it.
And as soon as somebody calls it, or in this case, as soon as you turn over your card and read it, hear it in your head.
That's when it needs to start.
Audio.
Exactly.
All right. Okay, reason 3 why you may have stalled is that you're not seeking out new sources. Okay, so previously we've talked about this, and the author states it again. Musical fluency and improvisation is dependent on the ability to map musical ideas in your head and then work them out into a motor program with your hands, right? And so our playing is really only going to be limited by what we can imagine in our head. So if what we are imagining gets stagnant, we might need to look for new sources so that our imagination can grow. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, new sources such as, give some examples of new sources. Listen to different people play on, like on YouTube or something, and
Right.
find a song that you want to learn. Or there are videos, lots of videos out there of just jam sessions. And I'm not trying to plug it at all, but I have a YouTube channel that's called Sultry Man, of all things. And on there, if you go to the playlist, there's playlists, and it'll say Cumberland Gap Jam or something like that, the title of it. If you go there, it's only, there may be a little bit of yakking and talking at the very first of the song or right behind the song, but I've got them broken down into songs, and then the song title is in the title of the video. So you can sit down there and play along.
Yeah.
So you see something that you don't know, and if you don't know it, you've got a source there to watch. But I'm not the only one that's done that. I know there's lots of, or you can search, like go on YouTube and search Dulcimer Jam. I bet there'd be a lot maybe that would pop up.
Well, even if it's a song that we are already doing, that we already have an audio file for, or we've made our own recording and have our own file to listen to and to learn and stuff, you could still just search out the name of that song and go hear other people play it.
Oh, here's another great idea. Go to Dry Run Dulcimer and search the playlist of the final cuts.
Yeah.
Just go there. That's just the song. No talking before, but maybe a little bit. We have to say acceptable at the end.
Yeah, we do.
But it's pretty much just the song. Play along with old Cindy and Rick.
Yeah,
See
that's
what
true.
happens.
That's true.
You can just play it over and over until you wore out with it. Then go to the next one.
So they say seek out new sources to obsess over. So they could obsess over us.
That's right.
They could obsess over the Cumberland Gap Jam videos.
They're
You
good.
can search, and there's many Dulcimer professionals out there, and many other people who are not professionals like us, but they still have, videos and recordings and stuff that you can listen to.
I found that if you just know what song you want to try to play, if you just type in the title of the song and then just the word Dulcimer with it and search and see what pops up, a lot of times you'll find several different versions of that, and maybe something that you like and you want to play along with.
Well, to build your imagination muscle, they said when listening to music, imagine that you're playing along with them, or how you might adapt it on your instrument. So just use your imagination when you're listening to these people that make your ears perk up, and see what you could use or change from their playing to incorporate, modify it into your playing, and add some new spunk to your playing. Good? Okay, the next one is number 4, you're staying in your comfort zone. They say research is clear. We only improve when we practice at the edge of our limits. when we deliberately stretch our boundaries, stretch the boundaries of what we're capable of, and push ourselves outside our comfort zone. So if you're going to just be playing music you're comfortable with and a style you're comfortable with, you're not going to progress.
Try something new.
Yeah.
Even if it's difficult.
They say, realize that this struggle represents opportunity for growth. When you try something new and it's difficult, it's an opportunity. And don't avoid anything that's awkward and uncomfortable. Seek them out, because that's where the magic is going to happen. They suggest that you break the rules. Don't be afraid to color outside the lines. This is interesting. They said this is especially applicable to anyone learning an instrument that's tightly linked to a musical tradition. Regardless of whether your desire is to stick with that instrument's traditional repertoire or to venture to less trodden lands, there's great value in spreading your wings. So even if you don't ever intend on playing a country western song, a pop song, any of those different varieties of songs, you can still try to play them on your dulcimer and learn from that experience. Mm-hmm. You're going to get something out of it.
I have, when I've searched for songs before, I'll also put in the search box, I'll put the key. If I want to play it on the dulcimer, I'll put the key of D. Or if I'm doing it on the psaltery, I may put key of C. Mm-hmm. You never know what's going to pop up. There's a tool that I need to mention that helps with this. That I don't know if this is a good time to bring it up, but it's an app for your phone, either phone, Android or iPhone.
Yeah.
What do you call that? It's not iPhone.
iPhone is right.
Okay.
Yeah, that's right.
Or your computer. I've got it on my computer. It's more expensive on your laptop. It's like $50. For your Android phone, it's $10, I think, like $9.99 or something, and which is very reasonable for what it does. And I'm going to tell you what it does. I think for an iPhone, it's $15. I wonder why they made it more expensive for an iPhone. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it's got a weird name. It's called Amazing Slowdowner. Amazing Slowdowner. If you search that, you'll find it. Go to Play Store and pull that up and look at it. Look at the reviews and things. But the thing that it does, you can take any music, even if you record it yourself. If you heard someone playing at a jam and you recorded what they played, but they're going at breakneck speed, the slowdowner part comes in. You can control the speed, and it keeps the same pitch so that you can play along, but you're hearing it at the same key of D, and play just as slowly, or you can speed it up and go faster than whoever's playing. But the other thing that it does, if you find a song that's in a different key on YouTube, for instance, a lot of times I will play the song on my computer or my television where I've got good speakers, and I'll make a quick recording of it on my voice recorder, and it's just all it is. All you got to do is find the title, the file, so you know what it is. But when you open Amazing Slowdowner, there's a place to load your files. You click there and you go to your audio files and find that song, and it pops up on there, and then you can manipulate it into whatever you want. But you can change the key. If it's in the key of D and you wanted to play it in C, so you have to help me with this. If I wanted to go down, they go by semitones. 1, 2, 3 semitones. I don't know what the limit is, but to go from D down to C, it would be going from D to C sharp to C. Those are semitones. So you lower it 2 semitones and it'll play in the key of C. Now, it's kind of weird when you listen to it, especially if there's a vocalist, because whatever key you change it to, their voice is in that key. So it may sound like they're singing bass or or the man singing soprano, or that part's going to sound weird. So if you can find an instrumental version,
That'd be best, yeah.
Works the best. But when we did the Gordon Lightfoot song, he recorded it in A, but I found out it was easier for me to play in G, so I went down 2 semitones. So I could still tell it was him when I played along, but it kind of sounded weird. Just a little bit weird. It didn't sound normal, but for what you can do with it, that's a bargain to me.
So that app would be good for a couple of these points. You could take new sources and make them to where that they are good for the dulcimer by changing the key. You can get out of your comfort zone by slowing music down to a speed that would be better for you to play. So you can use that app for several of these points.
It's just got little sliders. You just put your finger on it and slide it up or down to whatever you want.
I need to get it. I don't have it yet.
You don't have it? I've been telling you about it for a long time.
Yeah, I know. You've kept me busy with other things.
The one on my laptop, the expensive one. To me, it's worth it. Well, I was doing some workshops for the Bode Psaltery, and I wanted to show that, and so I had a bigger screen to show it on, and I like it so that I can control the sliders and everything with my mouse. It makes it a little easier to tweak that. But I don't know if that may be the only advantage to that, but if you want it for your
it's definitely something to look into.
Yeah, and there's 3 words: amazing slow downer.
Okay.
Or when you look at it on the app, it says ASD. But Rick recommends that one.
Well, let's go to reason 5 real quick.
All right.
Now this gets deep.
Oh no.
This is the big one. You've reached the limits of your existing neural networks.
That's easy for you to say.
All right, here's the word I mentioned to you the other day. Listen to this. Neuroplasticity. That's our ability to continue to mold our brain to suit our needs throughout our life. And it is a phenomenal, awesome gift. Neuroplasticity. We could change our brain. We can mold our brain. We can learn new things. Change how we think, okay? And it says we can construct these new neural networks. And we learned about making neural networks last time, and the visualization and, listening and, just seeing ourselves play it and building these networks between our brain and our hands and stuff. Okay, but they say that once these networks are fully formed, we have very little control over them. So once you form a network, that network is there. It ain't changing. On the one hand, it's this transition from conscious construction to unconscious execution that allows our playing to ultimately become effortless and automatic, and it frees up our attention resources. These neural networks do, right? But once these mature networks are formed, then the shift from the conscious to the subconscious is very complex, and it also constrains our behavior. And it says, I thought this was interesting. Have you ever learned a tune entirely from tab or notation and then tried to play it another way, like by ear? Yes, I have. Some of us haven't, but I have. The author says, darn near impossible, ain't it? All right?
Early on, I mentioned learning to play the banjo by tab, but then I found that was the only way I could play. I couldn't improvise, and that was all I could do. That's a perfect example of that.
Yeah.
That was a big limiting factor for me.
That's kind of where I am on instruments. I mean, I don't know if you even call it improvise. I could come up with a melody. I could come up with different parts. Like I can have just a melody line, and I can make a piano arrangement out of it, but I have to practice it and I have to feel my way through it. It's nothing that like I'm audiating and hearing in my head and able to do on the spot. So I'm very limited that way. I have to know and practice ahead of time. But I thought that this was really interesting that they are saying that if you have learned something by tab, it might be nearly impossible for you to go back and try to learn it by ear.
Well, you said nearly.
Yeah, I did say nearly. They say the best strategy here is one of prevention by avoiding learning paths that create neural networks that don't suit your goals. So if your goal is really to learn to play by ear, you really want to learn to play as much as you can by ear. Now, there might be something that we're playing in the club, and some of the stuff that we play, like I play Larry's tab a lot and stuff for our different songs. And so there might be times that I want to pull out my tab, but as much as I can, I want to use my ears. And make new neural networks. And they said if you find yourself unable to break free of the old habit, which for me is the tab, that it's best to cut your losses and build new ones. And yes, it means going back to the drawing board for a bit, but in the end, it will be well worth it. And I thought that was interesting because these songs that we've been working on, we picked songs that were like common jam tunes because I thought it would be easier for people to get the melodies and whatnot in their head and to be able to audiate them. But if anybody is stuck with that, they may need to throw out any of these songs that they have learned by tab and totally go to new songs.
Well, last week's song, Come Thou Fount, that's not a real common jam tune.
Right.
You just occasionally hear it, so that was a good one to use for that.
Well, but if you're having trouble because it is a song you learned by tab, this could be why.
Yep.
You know, you may have to go to a different song and make new neural networks.
That's an important thing. Don't just stick to the songs that Cindy assigns to us every week. Venture on out there and pick your own song, whatever it is, as long as you can, that first step to audiate it and get it in your head and listen to it. And it may be a song that you already know in your head, but then start putting it here.
Mm-hmm. Well, the author sums up saying that there is more that can be done with music than any one person can squeeze into a single lifetime. It can be easy, though, to miss the forest for the trees and to fall into old routines and habits and lose sight of all that is still possible. But if you keep looking for ways to grow and stretch, you're going to find them because there's no ceiling. No ceiling. So
there's a lot of songs out there. I asked that question last week. How many songs are there? I never did get an answer. Nobody ever told me how many there are.
We're waiting. Anybody know how many songs are there? And how many different styles and genres? You take one song, how many different ways can you play it? And then how many keys?
And so many new ones coming every day.
Yeah.
I've done a few little songs, just made up songs. Some people say that you wrote a song, I just say I made them up. But a new one started coming to me today.
Yeah.
So there's a brand new song to me. You all may never hear it, but then again you might.
It's coming.
You don't know.
Well, hopefully somebody will find, some inspiration in this. And this, like we said, it really applies to wherever you are on your musical journey. But I do think some of these definitely can apply to the play by ear. And so if you're stuck, you're not progressing, you've hit a plateau, you've hit the wall, look at some of these ideas and see if you can find a way to get over your hump and progress on in your goal.
So we've called these, you may want to edit this out, who knows? I'm going to say something. We have called these the challenge, each one we call it a lesson. And like we're teaching a lesson, but we're not experts on all of this. We're just kind of stumbling along and finding it out as we go and learning as we go and sharing. But we don't know everything there is to know about this stuff. We're not experts.
No, we are not experts.
But we're trying.
Some of us know more than others of us in this realm.
I don't know what I know.
But
That's my problem. I don't know. I don't know how I do what I do. It's just something that I've always done as far as the play by ear. But
well, we're just looking for ideas and things that might help some people. And I think definitely some of this will help me. And some of the things that we've already discussed will help me. I'm looking forward to changing my practice routine, making sure that I am doing the audiation, the visualization. I've started doing some visualization while I'm in my recliner and I'm just sitting there, and I can even visualize something as I'm driving down the road.
Yep.
Yeah. So I have been using some of these things and I do think it's making a difference. So hopefully it is for other people too. So that really concludes the lesson, but we do need to talk about the assignment of the week.
There's going to be an assignment?
No!
Thank goodness.
Well, I am just basing this on me, okay?
I hate homework.
Yeah, it's so hard for you who can already do it. But I'm basing it on me and my progress, and I feel like I've been doing pretty good, but I feel like the Come Thou Fount, I feel like I've really not had much time to devote to that song, and that I need another week on it, and I don't want to overload people. We don't want to put pressure and have people feel like they can't do it and throw their hands up in the air and quit. And I don't want to do that myself. So based on my progress of where I am, we're just going to stay with Come Thou Fount another week, plus our other songs that we have on our note cards, and just keep practicing. And we'll have a new song for you next week.
Is that it?
That's
Is that
it.
the end?
That's it.
I guess it's time to say goodbye.
Bye.
See you next time.
Good luck.
Hi, I'm Rick Long.
Hey, I'm Cindy.